drifting in all directions. Free until the key finds the door. Free like never before. Children of light, gardens of life, go lonely inside. Children of light, gardens of life, diamonds in the miles. Children of light, gardens of life, go lonely inside. Children of light, gardens of life, diamonds in the mouth.
May Welcome to a gloriously hot, insufferably sticky, but equally wonderful afternoon on the Rietspruit Game Reserve. Hello everybody, I am Victoria, for those of you who don't know me. Behind camera today we have Basil, and in FC we've got Gareth. Now, this is the hottest and the stickiest day I have had since moving to Painted Dog TV. It has been north of 100 degrees Fahrenheit today, bouncing around 40 degrees Celsius. We had in the car earlier today 44 degrees Celsius, so we are cooking in our own skin today, but it is beautiful. And it does set the evening up later on this evening. It means that surely our water points are going to be a hive of activity. I see we have quite a few people joining us on the chat this Sunday. So hello Di and Bob and Mary. Hi Sue. And we have Elsa and Brian and Betty and Brandy and Christine. We have a whole bunch of you with us. I hope Michael Fleetwood, nice of you to join us. Yeah, I think I've got all of you. Sue, you just said, you say this a lot, but you wish you were in Rietspruit right now. You would have to bring a swimming costume and a lot of sunblock and sunglasses and a hat and all of the things you need to survive this heat today. We have seen a lot of your boy lately as well. Matthew's been in and around camp, so that's been fun. We had our staff party on Friday night, everyone. You saw us on Game Drive, and well, everyone else, we did a wave on Friday afternoon. And then all through the night, we had beautiful lions. They came, they almost enjoyed our party with us. So that's why we've had some of our extended painted dog peeps hanging around. It's been our celebrate our year weekend. And now we've sent Brent off. He's on his way traveling. Matt's gone back to Rietspruit. Andrew will be back soon. But what is it? It's like 53 days till Christmas now, so everything becomes a little bit more festive. We are on our way to Cheetah. Cheetah, where earlier, Victoria, the book Pathfinder. Yes, Betty, what about the book Pathfinder? Ask your question. That was the one we used for describing the digestion a while back. We should actually dig into some more good stuff in there. I don't have it with me this afternoon, but I think that's the pride that they've just found absolutely flat-catted around Lowveld. We are heading towards Cheetah because earlier today there was an interesting interaction between a white rhino cow and a bull. And so they might not be hanging around that area, but sometimes interesting interactions go on for hours and sometimes days. So we are heading back in that direction, and since there's so much heat, and since Cheetah is one of the few dams that is actually still holding water, it's where we want to start our afternoon, figure out if anything else is coming for a drink, moving around that area. So we are heading towards Cheetah Dam. It's been a productive dam in the past. In the time that I've been on Rietspruit, it's where Andrew had that leopard on live drive one afternoon. It's where we've had the elephants. I think it's where I met the elephants, actually. Always rhino, lots of lions, so I'm hoping it's going to be productive this afternoon. We could be a smidgen too early for that afternoon drink. The heat is still very oppressive at the moment, so I think that for the first little bit of drive there will be very little movement from animals, but then we'll find our groove as it starts to cool off. Now I must just remember, is it down here? No, it's not.
This is outside of this one mother and over there is units of conflict. There is no more visual, there is no Baboon anymore.
Oh, that's great news, Betty. It is a super cool book. I think what we should do for the next little while is do some lessons out of some of our cool books that we have. I know Charles always used to do a Charlie safari, which was fun because he would teach you with him as he learned. And something that I must be honest with, now that I feel more confident on the reserve driving around, it's definitely time to spend some time searching and learning some of the more obscure vegetation types that Rietspruit boasts. So I got to start learning some of the trees. A lot of them are very generic across the landscape, across the Lowveld, but there's some unique species that I haven't encountered too much that are here that would be fun to really get to know. And there are some, I mean, what's great about it is that we're going into summer now, which means that when the first rains come, they should bring leaves, tree leaves. And then everything's going to be so much more easy to identify. We'll have new life in the form of insects as well that we can play around with. But yeah, you've prompted a thought process, Betty, talking about that book and about how great it is. It's so easy to enjoy learning when the resources are so comprehensive. So I should bring more resources out. What do we say? We have Resource November doesn't really have a good ring to it. What? Knowledge November? You're gonna have to extend yourselves a little bit because obviously it's not actually an N and an N. There's no alliteration there, but it sounds like it. Knowledge November. I think we should do it. It's also fun because as a guide, you learn a lot of things, but then when you don't apply as much as you know. So sometimes it helps with resources to prompt your memory and be like, let's yes, I remember learning about this, or this was actually really handy at this point in my career. So maybe we bring Knowledge November into play. Oh, here we are. Gareth is just saying, wow, thanks, because he knows that I'm actually away for most of November. I'm on private safaris in November. So I've just made a promise that him and Andrew are going to have to fulfill. That's funny. I didn't mean it for everybody, I just meant it for me. I can do it and the rest of you can do your own thing. Oopsie.
Jake's leaving the private unattended.
Hi, Mom Ruth. I think you're going to have to change your name online to Mom Ruth because everybody also calls you Mom Ruth. There's vervet monkeys bouncing around in the shade there. I don't know if you can grab them. Did you hear what that was? I didn't hear that update. November, that's way better, Mary. That's great. Okay, that's fantastic. I'm very disappointed that I didn't think about that. November, K-N-O-W, Vember, or Know It All November. Oh, that's going to be fun. Unfortunately, I'm not super prepared. I'm not super prepared for November right now. November. But I'll share with you everything I do know. There's a stunning amount of vervet monkeys in the shade over there that Basil had on camera. But they're blending in really well. That one's not. Everything is taking a little bit of strain now. The land is desiccated. Everything is dry. And with heat in excess of 100 degrees Fahrenheit now, we really need our first rains. Although this heat that we're experiencing is actually supposed to bring a frontal system. So we should get a little bit of rain next week, which will be fun and exciting. The only thing is that fun and exciting are one thing. I mean, it's necessary for this environment, but when you're going on a private safari, it's somewhat daunting to know that you could have lots of rain. Oh, but what a blessing. We can't complain about rain, especially not when we need it this badly. We have a false sense of water supply when we sit here at Sekoi Dam, because this is the only dam on the property that looks like this at the moment. There is a dam on Kaya, Hippo Dam, that's still holding a lot of water, and then Leopard Dam, also on Blowbank, has got quite a bit of water at the moment, but nothing like this. This is a full, beautiful dam. But it's an area where the herbivores are going to be really nervous this time of the year because they know that it's the only place where there is water, and which means that the predators are going to spend time at the water. Mainly because they want to drink, but also because they can use it to their hunting. Advantage. Obviously, everything has to come to the water, and that means that those who need to hunt have it easy. This time of the year is a time of plenty for predators because prey species are starting to get weak. Our impala are looking good, but they're not looking great. They're fine, they're going to be fine. They've still got quite a bit of fat on them. They look good, but they're starting to lose a little bit of condition. You can see some of our herbivores are taking a little bit more strain. Really only in the last 2 weeks have I started to notice, not even, last little bit, started to notice a deterioration in the condition of some of our more water-dependent species. Obviously on Blowbank we do have just the 2 dams that are still full, but the crypts are pumped, so there's 3 crypts, so there's 5 water points on Blowbank that they can be getting water from. The crypts are closely clustered, but the dams are actually quite far apart, so it does encourage natural movement. Michael, do we think that we're in for a drought like 2015-16? That was a very hard season. That was a very, very hard season. Our buffalo populations in the Kruger National Park were halved through the 2016 droughts. Lions took a big knock. There was a pride, the Nkuhuma pride, who suffered from white muscle disease, which was a lack of fat in the prey that they were eating, which meant that they couldn't synthesize certain minerals. So they really did, everything took a lot of strain in the 2016 drought. It was, I think, one of the worst droughts this area has seen, certainly in a long time. So there were predictions of this year being quite a hard drought year, but more recent updates suggest that we should expect slightly better rainfall than we initially predicted. So it looks like the latest expected predictions for this area include quite a moderate to even potentially more likely above average rainfall that we should receive, which was that's a new update. That update comes from the end of October. But it's quite natural in this environment that we experience the shifts between the El Nino and La Nina weather patterns, which are the weather patterns that bring extended periods of drought and then extended periods of higher than normal average rainfall. Is that a yellow-billed kite that you've just got there, I think? Very far for me. Let me try. Looks like it. Yeah. Nice, beautiful yellow-billed kite. Good spotting, Basil. I mean, yeah, Mary, the Nkuhuma situation was very difficult to watch that time of the year. What happened with white muscle disease is it effectively led to paralysis, particularly in the weakened members of the pride, and so their struggle was immense. And as far as I'm aware, they were the only pride who suffered from it, or that was documented suffering from it in the area. I'm not sure why they were so susceptible and not other ones, but in years of drought we also see a resurgence in things like rabies and even mange. It's basically any weather conditions that compromise the immune system of an animal. So too much water can also bring a resurgence of some of those things, but usually drought is harder to weather than excessive wet areas. But anyway, I was talking about the El Nino and La Nina weather patterns, and so how those work is that there's the climatic shifts lean towards roughly 7 years of higher than average rainfall, and then I'm getting a lot of feedback in my own ear. I'm not sure. I'm hearing myself. Don't know if anybody else can. Nope. Nobody else is hearing double of me, just I'm hearing double of me. Okay. Looks like I might have fixed it on TeamSpeak. Alright, so basically, sorry for my distraction there. It's weird when technology starts talking to you in your own voice. But we've been in a season of higher than average rainfall. So for the last roughly 7 years, since 2016, roughly all of our years have had slightly higher than average rainfall. And so it's been, how many years has it been? 2016 till now has been 8 years. So we kind of expect it to swing into a drier cycle. I don't know. Well, none of that is prescriptive, but it usually does work like that. And right now, it's November and we haven't had serious rainfall in this area. Other parts of the Lowveld have had significant rainfall, but here, under the northern Drakensberg Mountains, we seem to be sheltered from getting any good rain. That is not a scientific conclusion. That is just a 6-week observation. Don't quote me. All right. Let's see if anything comes to drink. Otherwise, we're going to carry on, see what we can find. When we were in the Okavango Delta 2 years ago, 2 years or 3 years? 2 years ago, these yellow-billed kites would start circling when we would start cooking breakfast, and then they would come down seriously quickly, and you'd just hear a clang, 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 and what would happen is that they would swoop in, and they would actually steal our bacon off of the hot plate, which is so funny. You think your biggest nemesis when you're in a wild space is going to be a baboon or a vervet monkey, but we had more theft from yellow-billed hornbills than we did from vervet monkeys or baboons in our time while we were in the Delta.
Good afternoon, all species. River Mobile. I copy the update. Thank you.
It is good news, Michael, especially in a system like this, that it's good news that we're not expecting too much too much dry, that it's going to be a nice wet season. It's great news, but we mustn't forget that there is a necessity for these different harsh weather patterns. And while it's really hard to watch, it can be really important for the natural stability of large populations. It's a little bit different in a closed system. Obviously we will supply water throughout the dry season or the wet season. But in the open systems, it really is vital that weather patterns shift and encourage movement of animals across large landscapes. So, we spoke about the buffalo that were, they took the biggest knock, I think, in 2016 from the drought, but also elephants take strain. It increases their calving intervals. If they have weak ones in the herd, the older or the old cows, really young calves, they often succumb to drought. And water scarcity is one of the only limiting factors, natural limiting factors for elephants. So we have to understand that despite not ever wanting to watch drought unfold and it take its grip on the animals in the area. Oh, there's baboons back there. Can you see them, Basil? That's nice. We don't often see baboons on this reserve. I don't know if we're going to get him in time. Did you see him there, though?
Yeah, I saw him go up there.
Basil's just going to hang around in that area with the camera. There was a nice big male baboon who sauntered through that space. And let's see if any more of them come through. Come on. It's always fun to see an animal that you don't see very regularly. Oh man. Surely it's not just one. It's not very often that you'll see one baboon in an area. Usually where there's one, there's more. Unless he's a male who's been ousted from the troop. Not sure. Not sure if we're going to get any more. Let's just wait and see if we get some more. Tell you, if I knew for a fact there weren't crocodiles in this dam, I would take a swim. But there's no confirming that there's no crocs. No guarantee. Which means no swimming. Survival of the fittest definitely isn't just about escaping predators, Mary. It's often about weathering the conditions as well. Have you found another one? Do we think? Oh. We are searching. I never thought I'd ever be searching for baboons, but here I am searching for baboons. I still can't see him. In the tree or on the oh, they're all coming in on the left. I can see them now. The guy we saw earlier is the first. He was the first. He was the pathfinder. Here comes a troop of baboons. Come on, close up. There you go. It's actually quite fun to have some baboons. They're quite nervous of people in this area. I think they've probably been told what for, not really allowed in camps, or not tolerated in camps. Look at that one coming for a drink. So you see the kink in the tail, halfway up the tail there. I'm sure you can all see that in that baboon. There's a nice kink in that tail. When they're walking, they walk and they've got, their tail goes right up and then bends over. I'm sure you all know what I mean. There's one coming in on the left that will show that. That is such a good little backrest for babies when they're sitting riding on their mother's backs. They'll often hold on to her fur and lean up against the kink in the tail. Let's see. Baboons are always quite fun to watch. Let's see if there's any antics or politics that we can observe. Be nice to just park off with your family in the shade, come for a drink, splash around a bit. Interestingly, the only place I've seen baboons on Rietspruit has been here around Sequoia Dam. That was a mouthful. Look at that. All four of them having a drink together. Something that boggles my mind about baboons is that they're anatomically they're designed quite similarly to us. And if we had to drink from an open water source like this, we would cup the water and bring it to our face. And I've always thought that surely their brains should have rewired to be able to cup water and bring it to their face. That would mean that they can look around for predators, they can scout for danger, they can see if there's a crocodile in the water from further away. You know, they have an arm's length of reaction time. I have no idea why they haven't evolved to think to use their hands as cupping devices to bring water to their face rather than shoving their head into the water, which makes them vulnerable to all of the animals around them that might creep up behind them, and even to crocodiles that will be lurking in the water. Has anybody else thought of that? Because for me, I always puzzle at this. I always puzzle at why they haven't developed the thought process of, let me cup the water in my hands and bring it to my face and keep myself safer. Only thing I can think is that perhaps it's just not as efficient because they'll be drinking a lot less at a time. That would take them a lot longer to have to drink as much as they need. That's the only thing. Michael, it might have to do with them not being bipedal. But they sit on their back. I mean, you can see them all there. They're sitting quite nicely. If they sat by the water's edge, they should be able to lean forward and cup their hands up. I don't know. Maybe Mary, maybe it's the stability on 4 legs. It makes for a faster getaway. All of these things are possible. Of course, there's a future. They would have developed the correct way for optimal survival. I just think I would really appreciate watching them cup their water. It would be quite funny. I mean, they're so coordinated. It's so cute. I love a troop of baboons, especially when they're not in a camp. When they're in a camp, I love them a little bit less, actually. But there's always something. This has been a very peaceful sighting of this troop of baboons. There's always something happening in a troop of baboons. Some sort of dominance that needs to be reinforced, some sort of dispute. Somebody's been offended by someone else. There's always something going on. Somebody requires disciplining. Somebody stepped out of line. Not so at the moment. Everybody's quite relaxed. Look at that little grouping there. Grooming, resting, taking it easy. It's a big female. She looks like she's ready to conceive with that swollen red buttocks. Mary, I can't think of any primates off the top of my head that cup water to their mouth, but there must be. I've just always thought about it with baboons. The other thing we used to see them a lot more at Mala Mala than we see them here, but something that's always made me giggle is, for some reason, something about a baboon makes me like wave when we drive past them or give them a thumbs up. And I thought about how disturbed I would be the day that they waved back or that they gave me a thumbs up back. It's interesting how the human brain works, that we expect more human responses from creatures that look just a little bit more like us. I never expected a giraffe to wave at me. So why do I expect a baboon to wave at me? Oh, they are all reclining. That looks like a little young boy on the left-hand side. Maybe a little over a year old. I'm sure they roost in this area.
Okay, copy. I'll be there and
Because like I said, this is the only place I've ever seen a troop of baboons.
Also joined for searching from Gombe, Hippo Dam.
Hippo Dam on Kaya seems to be the place to be this afternoon.
Yeah, try to make your way. I just want to follow out to find Eggy on charge here.
Yeah, it's possible, Betty. Maybe there would be a leak in their fingers. All these things are possible. Lots of good theories. Oh, look at that big male coming in on the left. He'll move into frame. You don't have to move, Basil. He'll move into frame shortly. There he is. He is a big boy. They kind of look like how sprinters, professional sprinters, are on the blocks just before they take off. On your marks, get set, go. Perhaps there's something to that fast, powerful getaway if they needed to get away. They also do have a much longer snout than us, so their eyes are a lot higher off the water than ours would be. They've got a very elongated nose and mouth. Maybe they just wouldn't have any balance.
Patients are made lock with the flight at Leopard Dam. There is still static lullabies here.
Oh, she might come and flirt with him. She looks like she's got quite a she's going to drink first, but she's got quite a swollen back end. And he's clearly one of the big males in the troop, so... See, the rest of the troop is moving off behind them though, so maybe it's not, maybe they'll just follow on, but it is always interesting, the flirty behavior of baboons. Nope, she was too slow. It's a big troop, it's at least 15 individuals. Another vehicle coming in, so I think it's a bit busy now. It's that same female. Look at her size difference. She's a big female, but look at the size difference between the male and the female. She's significantly smaller than him. Hi! How are you, Jakes?
Very well, yourself.
Good, thanks. We're just admiring the baboons. Ah, pardon? Yeah. No problem. We're just checking out. There's a nice big troop of baboons.
Okay.
And we don't see that many baboons.
Yeah, we don't, eh?
Yeah. It's not a terrible thing. Everything in moderation makes it really rare and lovely. We've enjoyed this sighting because we don't see them in camp. Yeah.
Have we all sorted for next week?
Yes,
Okay.
perfect. I'll email you, but that's all good.
Yeah, well, you're welcome to phone me anytime.
Thanks, we will.
And then we'll just fit in with the program and whatever.
But your program's great, that's what I put into mine.
Okay, cool. So
We'll
just
see.
sort it.
Yeah.
And then from next year, we'll just do it differently.
Perfect.
Because it's for the Charles arrangement. But we'll, yeah,
Perfect, yeah.
we'll get it sorted.
Sounds
That's
great. I mean, nobody's stressed, everybody's excited. Have a great drive.
Too.
Have you seen any rhinos anywhere close?
No, I've just heard at Hippo Dam now, but no, we haven't seen it. There were some fresh tracks on Seskant South heading north.
Maybe I'll go that way. And there's been nothing of the cheetahs on Blowbank, have there?
I've heard this morning near Nyala Ruta and the southern fence line.
Oh, never mind, we're going to go that way.
So please have a look here.
Yeah,
We were thinking of maybe popping in there a bit later on, but yeah.
okay.
Yeah, this morning they were on, I can't remember Nyala Ruta, east or west, but yeah,
Okay, we're going to work into that area then. Was that the female?
2 males.
Okay, great news. That is
See you guys later.
what I want to hear. See you next week. Sorry, everybody. Thank you for your patience. We have a safari booked next week that these people are helping us with. Because we're going to do 2 nights of our trip on Rietspruit, just to show everybody where it is that we you know, where we cut out where we live, what we do, how we do it, and then we're going to move into some of the pristine areas in the Greater Kruger National Park. So we've got a beautiful itinerary planned. We're very much looking forward to it, but these people who pulled up next to us were part of the planning process, so they were just saying everything's all good. There's our yellow-billed kite up close. He is hot. That bill is ajar, and he's definitely doing the bird's version of panting. Hi, Carol. Sorry to hear you got stuck at work. That's no fun. Very exciting though that Jake says that the cheetah were not far from this area. So Nyala is pretty much the closest main road to where we are now, and the cheetah were on there. So what we're going to probably do is just spend our afternoon in this area, keeping an eye out for cheetahs, which will be doing much the same as this yellow-billed kite is doing. Mouths open, panting, breathing, trying to cool their core body temperatures down. Let's carry on. It's actually really fun to spend some time with a troop of baboons. Baboons are one of my most entertaining animals when you are actually in the wild. When you're in their space, they're great fun. When they're in your space, they can be a little intimidating. They're one of the few animals that loses their fear of man relatively quickly. It's a gorgeous afternoon. The temperature's coming off just a smidgen. It's still really hot, but it's now pleasant. Okay, I'm gonna go this way towards the fence, and then what we're gonna do is actually drive the fence for a little while, see if there's any sign of the Cheetah brothers, fence and line. That's what we call them, affectionately termed fence and line. I wonder when last I saw them. Couldn't have been that long ago. Although we had Mabai and her cub more recently than the boys. Oh, of course there are baboon tracks on the road. I know where they're going. Keep your eyes peeled, everybody. We are going to scour these areas. When we left home this afternoon, Basil said, "What are we looking for today?" And I said, "Cheetah and rhino, Basil." Basil said, "No problem, which cheetah?" I said, "Whichever ones we can find." Catching up with the Cheetah brothers would be nice. There's massive hyena tracks up and down here. I am so looking forward to some time in the Timbavati because I'm hoping to see some hyenas. It's been a long time since I've enjoyed a hyena sighting. I won't go so far as to say I'm excited to see a leopard because nothing's guaranteed. But hyenas in that part of the world, oh, we have cheetah tracks going this way. So, they look good, so I'll keep an eye on. Sorry, go again. Oh, yeah. Cheetah tracks. Go this way. There's some guinea fowl tracks as well. Gotta keep an eye out. Speaking of guinea fowl, it's your last day, pack members. It is Sunday, which means that tomorrow the word of the week changes. And your picture changes. So this week, if you want a picture, Gareth's absolutely incredible picture of this helmeted guinea fowl should be next to me right now. Then please, if you are one of our pack members, please email info@paintedDog.tv and email the word helmet, and we shall send you a beautiful high resolution copy of that image. Now let's see if these tracks are good. Here they are. I don't know, Basil, any one of these is good. Oh, they've got to be here. We've got to get them. I don't know if you can see them, folks, but we have one there, or two. Two here, two here, two here, 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 here. And so it's walked up here. Here's the second brother. Let's go. Let's see if we can find them. It'd be really great to find the cheetah brothers. Looks like there are tire tracks here. There's something up ahead. I don't know if that's cheetah or if it's just a log. This is the burnt area, so a lot of things are going to look like cheetah that aren't cheetah. Carol, keep an eye on our Instagram. You'll see even more of it. We're going to post a lovely little reel tonight or tomorrow morning. But we did have visitors at our Christmas party. That's what we were talking about at the beginning of Drive, is the fact that we had 4 of the members of the Pride plus Kinky Tail who effectively gate crashed our Christmas party this year. They were there the whole night. They serenaded us, roaring, pacing up and down. Mama Lucy loved it. Well, everybody loved it. Yeah. Keeping on, keeping on. Keeping an eye out. Sorry everyone. I had to wipe my nose. I'm so nervous this time of the year with how dry it is that I get a blood nose, which would be very unbecoming. It happens though. The tracks actually aren't on the road. It looks like people have driven here this morning. So I wonder if they weren't... Okay, those tracks looked more fresh. Hi! there, hi, well, how are you? Somebody on the other side of the road, other side of the fence. Okay, we're checking termite mounds because they could be up on the termite mounds, looking for a vantage point to try and find something to hunt. Come on, Cheetah brothers. Michael Fleetwood, we decided to have our Christmas party earlier this year. Brent has gone off. He left today. VM is going off for Christmas. All things are happening in December that take everybody in different directions. I have a private safari, Gareth has a private safari, Basil's on leave, Andrew's on leave. So this weekend was the best time that most of us could spend time together. And so we did. It was lovely. Plus, nobody's complaining about other way around. Just check your team speak. Yeah, he's checking. I'm all good. Looks like somebody on the other side of the fence has a flat tire. Nice thing about the fence is that I only have 180 degrees that I need to watch, as opposed to when we're in the middle of the reserve, you have a whole lot more space that you need to be covering with your eyes. I haven't seen tracks for a little while, but what we'll do is we'll just work these areas, so it's okay. Right now, we're just confirming that they're not on the fence line, which is where they do, they like to incorporate the fence into their territorial patrol. Check, check, check. There's hyena tracks. Go the other way. You know, few things are as disheartening as tracks that come towards you when you're in an area. Hyena tracks, you kind of just shrug your shoulders because it's tricky to track hyenas at the best of times. But if you had leopard tracks or lion tracks or cheetah tracks that come towards you, it makes you quite sad. Because it means firstly you've driven over them, and secondly you've probably driven past them or they've moved off. Well, Carol, Andrew didn't really miss out on our festivities. We phoned him. We had a little video call, so Andrew was there for the rah-rah. He got to hear the speeches, and he added his own input as well, and as did Brian. Brian was also there via the interweb. Of course, we're a streaming company. Of course, our people who couldn't be there in person were there virtually. Come on, cheetahs. It's good to eliminate this portion as well. Just check that they're not here, and then what we'll do is we'll come in and we'll kind of make like a triangle. We've covered half of that triangle. We got to carry on and then go up sort of towards Sequoia Dam again. Not quite. Checking everywhere. We did lose the tracks, but I think we could still get lucky with them. This is quite a nice dip.
Journey, approaching 2 rhinos, walk past.
Yeah, but it's a long road. And up. Sounds like somebody found rhinos on Hoof, but they didn't say where. It's a very, very long road. They're gonna have to give us a little bit more than one name before we can decide whether or not it's worth us heading into that area. I feel like I really want to try and give it our best shot finding these cheetahs. Alrighty, now nothing is guaranteed, but it's really hot along this fence here now. So I think they'd probably be a little bit more inclined to hang out where it's a bit more shady still. Still really, really warm. It's not, 41 degrees anymore, but I don't think it's too far off either. Let's go all the way to Nyalarita and then follow Nyalarita back. Actually, no, we're going to take this road in here and then we're going to go north because those tracks look good just over there, and so if the cheetah have come in off the fence, we want to be in the right position to be able to spot them. Small hyena tracks. Still smell this fire even though it's not burning, that very distinctive old fire smell. This fire could really use a little bit of rain. It will flush beautifully green. Nice termite mounds that cheetahs might be able to sit on top of and scour the landscape for any dinner. When we were burning these fires, this portion on the left-hand side burnt really hot. Not too hot, you can see that there's still vegetation, but the flames were about 3 meters high, so double my height, more than double my height. Well, double my height. And I drove past here and really singed my leg a little bit. It was something I'd never experienced before. I'd worked on fires a number of times, but I'd never actually had the heat of the fire give me a little burn. So from my ankle to where my pants start, I got a nice burn. Luckily it wasn't serious, but it just goes to show that even when everything is under control, you have to be careful and don't underestimate the power of a fire. Okay, I think if they're going to be anywhere here, I think they're probably going to be on our right. There's no guarantees. Just by the tracks and by how hot it is and the fact that we didn't see any indication of them on the fence line. Also haven't seen any tracks of them, so I think if they're here, they're going to be on the right-hand side. It's still so thick in here. unfortunately, since the word of the week is finished now for helmet, for the guinea fowl, the beautiful guinea fowl. And Gareth, last week I think Christine asked Gareth for a picture of a leopard. Unfortunately, we have not seen a leopard, Christine. So as much as we want to grant you your wish, we're going to have to let you down. So, what should we pick from this week? Should we pick a giraffe, or should we pick a lion? We've had some lions recently. What about, I wonder if we have anything like a warthog. We're gonna have to choose what word of the week we select this week. Maybe it's been a little while. I think since Andrew went on leave, we haven't had an elephant. Maybe an elephant. Oh, this area's opened up quite well in the burn. Come on, cheetahs. Come on, cheetah. Good in here, but it's desolate. We definitely need the rain. I don't know what's going on, but I've lost my comms at the moment for some reason. My YouTube link is not playing favorably with me, so if any of you are saying any cool things, you're gonna have to give me a second before I can see them. A photo of baboons, or Mabai and her cub. Just want to Google about baboons. There are 5 types, yes. Chukma Guinea, olive yellow, and wow, that's a word. Hanydrius. We have the only ones we have in this area are the Chukma baboons. That is correct. Correct, Sue. They are quite a big species. Olive baboons you'll get in East Africa. They just look lovelier. Not to say they are. They're not actually any. But they're Chukma baboons are they're big, they're vocal, and they're the ones that we see in this parts of South Africa. They're actually the only baboons we get in this area. Good on you for Googling. You're embracing November, Sue. Advancing your knowledge, and everybody else is. Look what we have here. Let me grab it. We have the shell, pop it here, of a deceased giant land snail. Now it is quiz time, definitely quiz time. So here's the quiz. Was this a male or a female? You'll have to tell me. Based on the shell, is this the shell of a giant land snail male or a giant land snail female? The winner of this quiz gets to pick what our next photo of the week will be. Ha ha ha, within reason. You're right, Michael. All the baboons do look a little bit like chukma baboons, but with expensive mink coats. It is a tricky question. It is a trick question. Everybody's puzzling. Come on. What do we think? It looks like it's alive, but it's just the wind rocking it back and forth. Sue says a male. Are they actually...
on the southern fence line of Global, on Nyala Route, about 30 Kalapanzi. College out within 5 minutes, down here.
I'm also about 5 out from that position. I'll be keen there as a third. Guys, we must have driven past them, unless they were on the... No, we didn't get to them. We didn't get to them, but the cheetah have been found. Yes, Mary, you were the closest to answering the question. They are, in fact, what we would call hermaphrodites. So they have the ability, sorry, my YouTube is talking to me, maybe both. So they can, this would have been able to perform the male and female role in the mating process. So what happens is that spores from each snail would be absorbed by the other snail, and then they correct. I'm going to pop this back. We don't want to remove anything. And then I'm going to turn around and get us to those male cheetah. Can't believe we didn't see any more sign of their tracks. It was a very tricky trick question. Okay. We are reversing and trying to get back onto the fence line. Luckily we know that it's not too far from where we are now. But he said they were on the southern fence line of Blowbank, which means we turned up just too soon, searching for them. Mary, I'm going to leave some of your comments in the chat for everybody to enjoy. I'm not going to read some of them out loud. But I appreciate them all the same. Okay, hold on everybody. Well, I feel humbled at the fact that they found them not far from where we decided to come up, but I feel very glad that they found them because I really do want to see these male cheetahs. It's been a little while since fence and line have disrupted Gareth and I on our morning walks, and they're quite far, so perhaps in the next 2 days, if they continue on the fence, maybe tomorrow morning, but more likely Tuesday morning, they might be around Hace. So that would be a good reason if any of you are thinking about joining our Zoom drives to join on Tuesday morning, because if they are making their way in that direction, you'll wake up, roll out of bed, hop in the safari vehicle, and they should be right on our doorstep if their territorial route is the same as I expect. Meow. Just a tiny little Ferrari safari, making our way. Sounds like the lions finished off whatever kill they had in the drainage line around Mamba Dam, because they were also found around Leopard Dam, but they are being flat pancakes. All right. Well, the sun has softened since we were last on the fence 10 minutes ago. Hold on, Basil. Basil and Andrew break every safari rule when we're on game drive because they leave one of their legs hanging out the car to be able to handle the camera. And if they were on any typical safari, they'd get in so much trouble for that. But I always have a giggle when we go through a bump because I only have one leg to stabilize with. Actually a little way from here. So they must have cut through that block, actually through 3 blocks, small blocks, but through 3 blocks to get to where they are now. Because their last tracks I saw cut this way now. I hope they are on the southern fence and not on the eastern fence. He did say southern fence.
Not the price can approach. Yes, you can approach, yes. Was asking how many minutes you can go back.
Got a nice fright there with that little rock.
I think there's
You okay? See, it's the one-legged thing. Basil got a fright. I got a fright too, though. Do want to get into that area just in case he's been pulled in. Hopefully it's been pulled in on the correct fence line. But if they're on the other side, it's going to take us another 10-15 minutes. So just want to check that we are in the right area. Nyala Rita goes from southern fence line and does this big loop.
I'm leaving the Lowveld of South Africa, leaving off the station in Lowveld in charge in one approach. They're still upon the southern side of southern face of Lowveld on Nyala Rita.
Okay, so it sounds like they're here. Fast asleep by the sounds of things, but that's no problem because the sun will go down, it will cool off, and we'll have to have a look at how full they are. If they are not full and they haven't eaten, then we can look forward to perhaps them getting moving and maybe trying to catch something. If they are full, well then we can look forward to looking at them lying around being beautiful. Okay. I love spending this time of the evening. I know that the fence is a bit of, I mean, it is what it is. We have to have it in order to have the system function the way it does. A necessary evil. But I love this part of the reserve being on the southern fence line facing west for sunset. It's just so beautiful to watch the sun coming down over the mountain there. It's one of my favorite things about this reserve, really. Okay, we should be approaching where they were left. I think they're on our right. Right about now. There's another car here, which is what makes me think that they are here. Yes, they are. I'm gonna go in here. No, I'm gonna go in there. It's pretty. Hello, cheetah. Hello, fence and line. Okay, Basil, are you good from behind me? Is that fine? A little bit further forward. That's better. Way better. There they are. Ta-da! Well, this was 50% of the goal that we had this morning when we left home. They are snoozy, but they are not full. So they are feeling the weight of the hot day today, definitely feeling nice and warm. But as the weather cools off this evening, I think that it wouldn't surprise me if they did try and make a move on something. So we're going to spend a little bit of our afternoon with them. If we're lucky, we'll get them on the move. I've forgotten what I was talking about. Apparently I had some bad breakup when I put my hands in shape, or I need to repeat what I was saying. Did we miss the point where I was talking about the snail and how they have the hermaphroditic properties? So it performs both the male and the female role in reproduction. It shoots spores into its mate. When it's shooting spores, it's performing the male's role of inseminating the opposite snail. And then when it receives the spores from the opposite male, then it becomes quote unquote impregnated, and then it performs the role of the female. Is that the part that you missed? For some reason you thought it was Mabai and cub. No, Michael, this is fence and line, male cheetahs. They are watching. I think what they're actually watching is movement on the other side of the fence. They have had some interactions with the fence that have not been favorable. This one is the one I like to call line. Look how hungry he is. His tummy is quite concave. Very nice of them to be sleeping in the open area in golden light, isn't it? That typical orange eye of a cheetah. Really pretty. Really, really pretty. They're going to be difficult they're going to be very difficult to follow if they decide to hunt. At the moment. Because it gets thick, unless of course they use the fence, which is what they're pretty good at doing. Carol says she needs a good pic of the male with the collar. You know what? It's a sad thing, Carol, but photographers are less inclined to actually take photographs of the animal with the collar because it's not as photogenic. It doesn't look as wild and as natural. So I'll see if we can scratch up from the archives if we have any pictures with the male with the collar line. I can probably, I think maybe let's try and put them, the other cars moved, so we might get a bit more luck. They're both facing in the same direction. So I'm just going to try and move to where they were over there. Well, now they're looking in our direction. You can never be sure with the animals what they're going to do or where they're going to look. But this is pretty cool. How's that? Basil says that that's better. Let me see what I can do for Carol. I didn't bring a very long lens. You're welcome, Mary. Sorry that I had breakup when I was initially talking about it all.
If you're still in Bukam Kombi, there is one Kombi here on Nyala Route after the Shinko, just deep in the thickets. I'm not sure if the black or just the white Malome, but it's in the thickets, mobiling towards a little bit towards Nyala Route, but I'm going to leave it open lock.
Huh, sounds like they've found a cheetah not far from where we are, so you never know, everybody. Perhaps we'll get both of our wishes for the afternoon, but I'm not going to rush away from these boys. I think that we should spend some quality time with them. See if we can get lucky. In the meantime, I'm going to try and take a picture so that we can give Carol what she's looking for, and everybody else who wants a nice picture of the male with the collar. It's always a winner when you get to see them and spend so much time with them. They're so relaxed. Now his eyes are closed, so that's no help. I'm not really winning, to be honest with you, everybody. He's too snoozy. Look at him. Falling asleep. The light is pretty. The other male is actually looking around quite a lot, so yeah. Spoiled. We're spoiled with our cheetah sightings on Rietspruit. Rietspruit is so fruitful for good cheetah viewing. And these males, they never disappoint us, so maybe if we're just patient with them this afternoon, will be the same. Only thing that is going to count against us this afternoon is the fact that it's really still very warm. Oh, the lighting is stunning now. Their faces actually look quite different to me. Male with the collar seems to have a smaller face than the male without the collar. The male without the collar has definitely seen something. I'm not sure what he saw behind us. Did you see that posture change though, everybody? He's going to be far more in tune with what's moving around him than I am. I mean, I try my best, but let's have a look. Is there a scar on the male with the collar? The male with the collar around his mouth. Can't tell if it's a piece of grass. It's a piece of grass on his upper lip. Looked like it could be a scar. When you look with binoculars, it doesn't look like it's the hair. It looks like it's on his fur. Look how fluffy that belly is. He could use a groom. could definitely groom himself. Look how long and thin and lean they are.
Station with Ngala, I'm responding with 7 to 8 minutes.
It is beautiful this time of the day. This is why it's golden light, Mary, because everything looks that much more mystical with that pop of color, particularly like you say, when it looks like it's almost looks like it's naturally black and white, and then you get the golden hue of the sun coming through. Really pretty. So an interesting thing, Basil, if you could just shift it down a tiny bit onto his paw. Often you'll hear people tell you that cheetahs' feet have claws that do not retract or yawn. He's going to get up and move. So that's not entirely true. Oh, you're just going to do that then? Not entirely correct. What it is that the nail or the claw sheath is just a lot smaller than other big cats. So actually there is a bit of protraction that happens when they're running or when they do catch their prey, but it's because their nail sheath is small, those claws don't retract all the way like they will in a lion or a leopard. So there's a degree of protraction that happens when they use those claws, but the sheath has become smaller so that the nails are always exposed for maximum speed gain when they decide they need to sprint. Interesting how different animals are modified differently. It's also not entirely correct that we call, lions and leopards' claws retractable claws, when actually it's protractile claws, because the relaxed state of their paw is for those claws to be retracted. Protractable is the fact that they can push them out and protract them, and then they can use them. But anyway, the technical term that we still use is retractable. So we won't change science in one afternoon chat, will we? But it's interesting to discuss. And on that front foot, in the paw, on his left paw, the front foot over here, you can see that dew claw, the claw that's back set from the pad. So if you're looking at the paw that's further away from us, you're looking at the highest claw that's separate from the rest of the paw. It's actually behind so if you look at the paw in front and you go directly back onto the second paw, you can see that little pad that is separated from the foot. That's the dew claw, and the cheetahs use that to destabilize their prey when they're hunting at great speed. So that's a really, really important little claw back there. It does a lot of hard work in their hunts when they're trying to grip, pull down, and even just destabilize their prey. That dew claw is very active.
Station with Ngala, can I approach?
Actually, the forearms of a cheetah, the lower parts of their legs they don't have that much dexterity. The bones are very firmly wound in, very, sorry, just listening to the radio. The paws are bound in like tight muscle fibers, so that there's not actually that much give and movement on the front of the paws or the forearms, the bottom section of the forearms, and that's just for speed and with stability when they're at high speeds. Obviously, a leopard's paw has to have a lot more play because of how they hoist their prey. A cheetah's is it's really kept tightly bound in place, the bottom half of the forearm, in order to be able to stay really, really stable when they reach really, really high speeds. One of the things I've loved the most about this Rietspruit Game Reserve has been really getting to know small little antics about cheetahs. And also I'm reading a super cool book at the moment by people who researched cheetahs in the Lowveld Game Reserve. They're very well known South African researchers. They first did brown and spotted hyena, then they moved to Skukuza to continue research for a very long time, like 20 years, 22 years. And then they moved back to the Kalahari to study cheetah. It's called, what is it? Spotted cats or fast cats on, I've forgotten the name. Maybe Gareth will prompt me. What is it? I know it's by Gus and Margie Mills, but I can't remember. Fast cats on, I don't know. It's those fast cats on red sands. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, fast cats on red sands sounds right. Because of course the sands in the Kalahari it's red sand dunes. And actually that's quite a different landscape to what the quintessential picture of a cheetah is in grasslands in East Africa. But we know that more and more cheetah really are thriving in the South African context, and that's these woodland savanna landscapes. So a lot like Rietspruit is often where you're going to see cheetah. Breaking stereotypes. The thing about stereotypes in the safari space is that they've all been developed in the East African context, because that's where the first filmmakers went. So we gotta diversify. We gotta give people different perspectives and help them understand. Actually, cheetahs are doing the best across their range in South Africa, where there's not that vast open grasslands. Carol, that's the exact same authors, Hyena Days and Kalahari Nights. That was also a great book of theirs. I've read that too. Both of them on my bedside table, but I read Hyena Days and Kalahari Nights a long time ago. And now Fast Cats on Red Sands is what I'm reading, and I would recommend it. I'm only about 5 chapters in, but it helps. It helps to know what people have learned and researched and discovered about the species that we spend so much time with. Their research that was done in the Kalahari started in 2006, and they're now following the 4th generation of cheetah females in that area. So if you think about it, that's an incredible work that they've done, that they can follow the 4 generations worth of females and how they are hunting, how they're raising young, how they're surviving in quite a harsh environment. So even though they were only there, I think, for 6 years, the research has continued, which is such an awesome legacy. A project is so great when it continues once the founders have stepped away, and it still can continue and self-sustain, because it gives us so much data and so much insight into the species. There's even record, I think I chatted about this on a Zoom drive recently, but there's even record of a female cheetah in that area who congruently raised 2 different litters. So she had a male cub, and when the male cub was a year old, she showed signs of, she had suckle marks, and he would have been long since weaned. And then they found him, the female with her male with 8-week-old cubs when the male was about 15 months old, and he stayed with the female until all of them went independent around the same time.
Copy, this is the herd here. That's the youngster with them.
It's incredible what we can find in research.
The location of the area, please.
Sunset's also beautiful today. I don't know how much movement we're going to get. Betty, thanks for that. It's good to know that Pathfinder has great diagrams of the giant land snails. I think we'll have to use that for November. November. There you go, Basil's got it. These cheetah are not going to do much today. They are still weighed heavily under the weight of this heat. The Mapani bees are out in force today as they're buzzing around my head, and I'm sure they're buzzing around the heads of these cheetah too. Not all of the cubs survived. I think, Betty, there were the older male survived. The first cohort survived, which was just one male. And then I think that of the 4 or 5, only 2 survived. But anyway, for her to then have 3 going independent around the same time is quite remarkable. Obviously, one of them was a serious adult by the time he left. He was a mommy's boy. But some of the interactions they recorded were unprecedented. I mean, he would contact call for them. He would almost act like a caregiver to his little siblings, which is very strange, but very cute behavior. Cute is probably the wrong word. It's probably too much of an anthropomorphism. But there's definitely something to be said for the importance of kinship in the wild. Animals definitely have an understanding of... Make your way. So, kinship is the idea that even if it's not your, even if you're not the mother, you invest in offspring. They've recorded it quite nicely. It was also Gus and Margie Mills's research, but they recorded siblings raising, hyena cubs, siblings raising their younger siblings when the mother had died, and that's because they were genetically close enough, closely related enough, that the siblings saw value in their younger siblings surviving because they were genetically so similar that it meant that, okay, cool, my genetics survive if you survive, and therefore I'm going to invest in raising you. What was interesting is that in the same clan of hyenas, the cousins of those younger orphaned cubs had very little interest in helping raise them. So it was only the older siblings who recognized, okay, cool, my genetics exist within you. It is important for my genetics that I make sure that you survive. I wonder if it's not worth trundling up this road here, see if we can find... There was a rhino called in a little earlier, but nobody really went to see if there was anything happening with it. Somebody just said that they saw it at long distance, but it looked like it could move towards the road. These guys are very hungry, but I don't think they're going to do anything about that tonight. It's too hot, and now it's getting dark. It'd be amazing if we were here. Look how, if you can maybe just go into the stomach there, Basil, where you were. You can see it's very concave. You can see where the rib cage ends. He's very hungry. It's actually one of the first times I've seen these males looking really hungry. Beautiful though. Okay, everybody, let's leave these guys. Let's see if we can catch a rhino before dark. We're gonna trundle along. Imagine if I could get 2 out of 2 for the afternoon wish list. I feel super proud. It's possible that a rhino would be making its way towards Sekoi Dam for a drink. Maybe if we don't find it on the road, we'll get there by sort of the end of drive and perhaps we'll get lucky. I would appreciate that. The repeater on the radio is super busy tonight. I think it's the first afternoon I've been on this reserve that I haven't packed a jacket. Just knew if I left the house and it was 40 degrees or just under 40 degrees at 4:30 in the afternoon, it wasn't going to cool down enough to need a jacket by the evening.
Northeast of the reservoir at the Mondura.
Stations, I'm leaving the 2 male cheetah to one other station.
Also leaving the 5 here, Leopard Dam, open locked at the moment.
Every single cat that has been found today, granted only the 2 cheetah and the lions, is doing the same thing. Sleeping. What else are you supposed to do in the heat? Only thing you can really do is find a shady patch, drink some water, and take a nap. We're quick to complain as people about the fact that there's little, it's so hot, how do we cool down? But we have fans and air cons and ice for ice water. It's very different if you're a wild animal. Just have to suck it up. Come on, give us one more rhino. Brent areas are actually fantastic areas to look for rhino once they've flushed green. Unfortunately, we haven't had enough rain for these burns to flush just yet. So they're taking their time. But what will happen is they'll flush green and then all the herbivores will move in. That'll be another way to just control the thickness of the bush, because what happens is as they focus all their energy, because obviously they've had a bit of a knock with the fire, as they focus all their energy onto growing new shoots, new leaves, and then those new leaves come and they get browsed upon and grazed, then they're going to take another knock. And so it just helps thin out this area. It's like a double-edged sword when you burn. First it's the fire, and second it's all the herbivores that love the fresh shoots.
To the east of the road east again, journey time is 8 seconds. Well, if you will prefer it just to the south of those crossing 8K, Lowveld of South Africa, in that big open eroded area. Previously it was 5 spots. So confirm whether okay, so from Rietspruit, you're crossing on Lowveld. I think it's really to take you straight to Boston, and you would have a cake on your left-hand side. That's pretty stealth, the one that goes straight up the hill. Firm. Okay, I'm just tracking.
Okay. There's nice rhino tracks on the road. Let's keep looking. I think this rhino is probably going to try and have a drink. Heading towards the dam. It might be a black rhino, everyone. That would be mind-blowing. So let's just take it nice and slow. Nice and easy. There it is. Or was that a termite mound? No, that's a termite mound. I don't know. Oh my goodness me. It's embarrassing. I thought it was moving. Nope, it's a termite mound. They got excited over nothing. What happens when you feel like you're so close? I feel like I'm so close to this rhino. But we need to keep our eyes peeled.
Yeah, I've just passed through the drainage line. The audio. So please turn right and go the other side of the contact. Yeah, I'm really on the eastern side of the drainage line, a big open eroded area. It's 20-30 meters to the south of 8K.
Now the tracks I think have gone in here, but I really believe that if we just spend some time at the dam, or we get to the dam, it should have cut ahead of us towards the dam. We might have already missed it drinking. I really hope we haven't. But we have to just keep looking, keep searching, keep our eyes open. This is the time of the evening that rhinos drink. It's like perfect rhino o'clock. Getting dark. It's not really cooling off, but it is getting darker. So hopefully, I really hope we'll get some activity from a rhino around Sekoi Dam. Up my speed because this road is the quickest road to get to the dam, but it winds around a little. Windy. Glance I had, I wouldn't be surprised if this was a black rhino that we're following. I want to go this way. The dam is just up on our left. It'll take a minute to get there, but if you were an animal, you would just go directly there. It's pretty much where we started our afternoon. Looking at the baboons and deciding to search for cheetah. Please be here. Big rhino. Tracks indicated that it was heading directly for the dam. It's just about how slow it's going, if it's gone slowly or quickly. There are people out their car having a drink here. There's two different groups, so I'm just going to poke my nose in. Black rhino is obviously a little bit more shy than a white rhino. So it would be very interesting. I don't see anything here. Let's get around and get a little bit of a higher vantage point. And then what we'll do is we'll actually just park for a little bit in the middle. See if we can see anything. Please, rhinos. Please, can we be 2 for 2 for the afternoon? Okay. I'm gonna pull us in here somewhere. Have a scout around the dam. Maybe in here. This is so pretty. I can't actually see with the naked eye. Look at that before Basil zooms in. Appreciate that still water and the reflection of the sun that has already set. Isn't that beautiful, Cubby? Now there is water that runs into the back of Sequoia Dam, where the furthest point of sunlight is reflecting off the water. There's a little bit more water that goes further back than that. And there is where I expect a rhino to come and drink. A white rhino probably wouldn't be as concealed. They would come and they'd come anyway, but a black rhino might go into the more secluded parts to be able to drink. Into there, perfect basil. There is the duiker right in the center of our shot. And of course some guinea fowls, a whole bunch of guinea fowls just about ready to roost for the evening. And of course some guinea fowls. A last minute unicorn, please, Michael. So if you are interested in a copy of that book, tell Matthew to keep an eye out for you in Rietspruit. My copy was from a bookstore in Rietspruit and it wasn't nearly as pricey as it can be online. So as one South African to another, tell Matt to keep an eye out for you. Put it on your Christmas list. The chat hasn't stopped about this Pathfinder book now that Betty's got one. Everybody wants a copy. It's worth having. It is fun, but there's so many cool resources. I mean, Andrew has another awesome book that we enjoy reading. It's called Aardvark to Zebra. Basically tells you everything you need to know about the animals in these areas. I'm not actually sure who it's by, but there's so many. I mean, our house, of course, you can imagine our house is filled with hundreds, if not thousands, of interesting bush-related books. But I'm going to keep quiet. I'm going to try and keep quiet for a whole minute. Let's just enjoy this idyllic view. It was a beautiful minute just to absorb the majesty of this scene right now. The reflections are perfect. The feeling is indescribable. But you cannot help but be in love with Africa when you spend an afternoon with cheetahs, search for rhinos, and then end with a view like this. Everybody, it has been a privilege to take you out on the Rietspruit Game Reserve this afternoon. I hope that you have a fantastic week going forward. Happy Sunday, and we will see you again tomorrow, same time, same place. Bye.